Hi, my name is Marek. I'm from Wood-Mizer Europe. Today we are going to chat to Dei John. He's our customer from North Wales. He's got experience in sawmilling for over 30 years. He's a contract sawmiller. So today he's going to tell us how he started contract sawmilling, what was his journey, how it evolved, what sawmills he uses, what blades he uses, who are his customers, and how the current situation is impacting his business. I hope you enjoy this chat. Hi, Dei John. This is Marek speaking. How are you?
Hello, Marek. I am very well. You as well?
I'm well, thank you. I want to go maybe and ask you a few questions about your sawmilling journey. Because obviously I can see that you own there an LT40 behind you, but
I
I
do.
would like you to maybe tell the viewers how did you start sawmilling, and did you did you know that you will be sawmilling since you were little, or how did you actually join this business?
Well, it's quite a long story, to be honest with you. I left school and I went into the catering industry. I went and trained as a chef for 3 years. It was something completely different to what I usually do. I come from a farming family. I left college in Eastbourne and I came back to work here in a country house, in a country house in Hall. And then from then on, I always wanted to go back working into the outdoors, really. And I got in touch with my wife's uncle, and he had a LT40. I'm going back to late 80s, early 1990, and I started working with him, really. And from then on, I was working with him for about 4 years, and I went on my own in about 1995, 96. So then I started saw milling on my own from about 1996.
Right. You did mention where are you located?
I'm located in a little village called Rhos-y-Gwaliau, which is just outside Bala in North Wales. I've been sawmilling since early 1990, so nearly 30 years now. Yeah. Yeah, so it's quite a long time. Yes.
That's a long time. That's a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
So what was your first sawmill when you started sawmilling in 1996?
I bought, I think it was a Onan engine. It was an LT40, but it was a petrol engine. Then it had the Onan engine on them. If you remember the Onan, you won't remember them, you're too young. But it was a petrol Onan, and I bought that second-hand from an estate in Evesham in Worcestershire.
Okay. And
Yeah.
when you got your first sawmill, how did you start sawmilling? What?
Well, I had already had 4 or 5 years experience working with my wife's uncle, so we were mainly contracting out on the sawmill. So I really picked it up so quickly, and I had the experience then to go on my own then, really.
Has the market changed since 90s until today? What has changed? What have you noticed?
Quite a hard question. There hasn't much changed, to be honest with you. On the timber side of things, I still sell a lot of oak beams. I still go out contracting on farms. A lot of farmers who've got their own timber want to build their own sheds. So that hasn't changed really from the 90s to up to now, really. I still saw a lot of Yorkshire boarding, we call it, cladding for farmers to clad sides of sheds. So there's nothing much. The price of timber has fluctuated a lot in 30 years. I remember about 9-10 years ago paying £30 a tonne for saw logs or for timber, and up to last year I was paying nearly £100 a tonne. So timber prices have fluctuated a lot, really. Yes.
Okay, I see. So right now in North Wales, what are your typical customers?
My typical customers, I do a lot of sewing for a big building firm in Bala, Williams Homes. They build a lot of timber frame, and they like to keep the carbon footprint as clean as they can, really. So I supply a lot of cladding for them in cedar or larch or a Douglas, which has all come within a radius of, say, 30-40 miles to my home, really. I do a lot of sewing for Simon Belfield, who owns its own oak timber frame, and he's just had a big contract of making 15 log cabins now in a Douglas fir. So it's people like that, really. I mainly sew for. I do a lot of work for the National Park, National Trusts. Mainly on that side of things, really. The local councils, national parks, national trusts, really. The most popular stuff, timber that I'm sewing, is Western red cedar, European larch, and a Douglas fir. Really. Those are the three redwoods I mainly sew from our area here. It's quite easy to get hold of a Douglas fir and larch, but it's very hard to get hold of Western red cedar. You often find it's planted in how can I explain, Western red cedars, like there's a block planted in some cedar, been planted in some larch and some Douglas, so it's very hard to actually find a good block of cedar on its own. So it is mainly larch and a Douglas and cedar, really. I think this is my 5th sawmill now. The reason I have actually changed is because when you're contracting out all the time, you have to keep your tack pretty good and in a good working order. Even though I used to service these sawmills, you need to upgrade your tack all the time, just to keep it in. How can I explain it? If you're contracting out, the last thing you want is for your sawmill to be breaking down, and so yes, this is my 5th sawmill now. But saying that, my previous sawmill did nearly 10,000 hours on it, and it was still, the engine was still purring as if it was new. It was the Kubota 42 horse, which is a fantastic engine, really. Yeah.
And right now, what kind of sawmill have you got right now?
I've got the LT40 super high hydraulic. I bought it last. I bought it last October. Was it October, September? And I had it delivered here in just before Christmas, I think. So yes, I've been running it since January now, and it's already got about 380 hours on it now.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha. Can you tell me about your blades? Do you use Wood-Mizer blades?
Yes, I do. I use the 10-30 profiles. They've always been spot-on blades. I have tried some Ripper 37s, but I never had much luck with them, really. I've always preferred the Wood-Mizer blades, really. Mainly silver tip, but I have used a double hard as well, and they seem to fine as well, yeah. I sharpen them myself as well, so which is very handy, really.
How often do you change blades? Because you're working, let's say, if you're working on silver tip versus double hard, is there any difference?
A double hard is supposedly last longer, but in my experience, I don't run my blades too hard because it's much harder. If you run them too hard, there's much more work sharpening on them afterwards. It's very hard to say, but you can tell straight away. I can hear when the actual blade's going,
Okay.
and I would rather change it sooner and go through more blades than keep on a blade and keep on a blade, really. So I would rather change it.
Right. So basically, if the wood is more abrasive, you
Yes.
change the blades more frequently.
Yes, I will. If I'm sawing a sequoia, that saws like butter, and I maybe use a couple of blades a day. But as you said, then the more abrasive the timber, then I will change blades more. Yes.
You said that you would rather go and change blades more frequently rather
Yes.
than run them longer. Why is
Yeah.
that?
Because I think I've seen me years ago running blades too long, and they have actually dipped quite a lot into the timber, and they've either come off the actual the drum itself, and it causes a lot more problems, and your blade is stuck in the timber and it's come off the actual belt. So I would much rather change blades more frequently and have less of the hassle of your hammering blades and breaking blades and a damage, really. I'll usually carry about 20 blades with me because I've seen me on one job hitting 8-9 nails, and that was 8-9 blades gone straight away. So I'd rather take plenty of blades with me, because you never know what can happen, really. I usually ask them where the timbers have come from. If it's come from the side of a hedge, then I usually tell them that it's most probably got nails in it, and that they shouldn't really bother with it. And if I hit nails, then I do charge for blades, really. But on the whole, the main timber I saw is from the forestries, really. One of the nicest timbers I've sawn in this area, which we don't often find, is walnut. And yes, I've only sawn 2 or 3 walnuts here, but some fantastic timber. The only problem with walnut is that it's very prone to shaking through it, so you get these little shakes through it. But on the occasions I have sawn walnut, it's been absolutely stunning stuff, really. And I would like to saw some more of it, but there isn't many in this area, really.
Mm-hmm. What are your plans for future? What are you thinking to do in the upcoming years?
I'm starting to feel a lot of aches and pains now. No, I'm just hoping if my health is very good so far, so I'm hoping I can just carry on and keep on sawing for the Williams Homes, keep on sawing for the timber frame, the company that I do a lot of work for, keep on sawing for the National Parks, National Trust, and keep on contracting out, because I enjoy the work so much. I enjoy meeting people and contracting out, and I enjoy milling timber.
Right. So, what's the most enjoyable thing about sawmilling in your area?
The most enjoyable thing is it's just meeting people, really, and sawing a product that is used on locally on homes. You know, it's seeing your product that you've milled being used, cladding houses or making timber frames, or actually seeing the trusses and the A-frames being made from the timber you've just milled on your sawmill. There's nothing better, really.
You know, in a few places in Europe, we have noticed that there are some problems with either with bark beetle or maybe with ash dieback.
Yeah.
Have you noticed anything like that in your area as well?
No, nothing at all here. The only thing we have got here is the a disease larch. We have quite a lot of that not far from me, about 10-50 mile away, and that's all been cut on a special license now, and is going straight into a biomass, really.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. So that doesn't affect you too much, no?
No, it doesn't. No, it hasn't so far. No.
When you started sawmilling, were there a lot of people sawmilling in early 90s?
No, my wife's uncle was one of the first people to buy a mobile sawmill. He was a farmer. He bought his own woodland and he invested in the sawmill. So it was a very new thing in the 90s, early 90s, late 80s. And even now, going up to now 2020, there's me with a sawmill. There's still my wife's uncle with his sawmill. There's one or two others within a radius of 40, 50 miles, but that's it really. There's not many other people sawing really. No, not really.
Okay, so, and your wife's uncle is still sawmilling as well?
Yes, he's in his mid-70s now, and he's still sawing from his farm. He doesn't contract out anymore, but he's got his own kiln. So he saws a lot of oak on the farm, and what the kilns it really. Yeah, that's all he actually does now is saw lots of planks to be killed and saw the odd oak beams really.
How you been able to stay successful for so many years and get so much business from people around you?
I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, but I think it's being able to do a very good job really. I'm a one-man band. I'd rather do the job myself, if you can, because you know then that the job will be done properly really, and it's all word of mouth then. If you do a good job, because we live in such a small knit community, if you do a good job, then it's just word of mouth really. But even after 30 years of sawing now, if you do one bad job now, it only takes one bad job and 30 years have gone out of the window. So you have to be on your game 24/7 and treat every customer the same really. It doesn't matter who it is, you have to do as good a job for that customer than the previous customer really. I try and keep it as local as I can really. Gone are the days where you're contracting out all the time. I would rather saw quite a bit more from my own yard now as well, which I can sell more timber from my yard. And I'd like to cut down a little bit on the contracting side really.
Okay, and so I understand you're stacking some timber for resale, right?
Yes, I am. Yes.
What kind of timber is popular right now for resale?
It's for resale at the moment is cladding really. I do sell lots of large Douglas and cedar cladding. There's a lot of cladding. I think more people are looking into cladding their houses because it's quite a warm. It's more of a warm feel cladding, and it's locally sourced as well. So and you have the colours. Some people like to oil the cedar, which you don't have to do, but the majority like to let it weather and it'll go like a silvery colour. But some people do like to put oil on it to keep that vibrant colour really.
When it all started, did you think that you're gonna get this busy?
No, it was quite a shock really when we first heard of this virus in China. I didn't really think it would affect us here really, but it has spread like wildfire really, hasn't it, you know? So, but I never thought I would be this busy where the phone is just constantly ringing really.
Okay, and if someone would like to start sawmilling or maybe contract sawmilling, what would be your advice to those people?
To research it thoroughly first, because a lot of people look at the sawmill and think, oh, I'm going to buy a sawmill, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But it's not as easy as it actually looks. It takes a lot of perseverance, a lot of time, a lot of effort. You know, I can see myself working 12, 14, 15 hour days. You can saw out for 10, 12 hours, you go home then and sharpen blades for 2 hours. So it's a lot of hard work. If you're prepared to put the hard work in and the actual graft and research it properly, seeing if there is a need for that sawmill in your area, you should be able to make it work then. But if you're seriously want to consider contracting out, I wouldn't look at anything under a LT40 super high hydraulic, because it's such hard work. If you haven't got any hydraulics on your sawmill and you're contracting out, then it is very hard, very, very hard. But if you've got your own woodland and you're only wanting to look to be sawing maybe 1-2 a days every week, then I would go for the smaller Wood-Mizer, really. So yeah, it's horses for courses, really, isn't it? You know, yeah.
Another thing came to my mind. You know, we were talking about double hard and silver tip blades. Okay.
Yeah.
We have actually released right now in April 2020 a new type of blade, a start cut blade. Have you heard about that?
I haven't, no.
So that's going to be the cheapest blade type in Wood-Mizer offer. It's going to be more economical than silver tip, basically.
Yeah.
And I think during these times, you know, it might work well as well. And if you get in touch with your local dealer, you might want to try out the start cut blades as well.
Yes, of course, yeah.
On another note, when servicing sawmill, who do you usually get in touch with? Is there a dealer that you usually work together with?
Yes, there is a local rep tutor. He's based about 30 miles away. So if there's any major problems, I'll always get in touch with tutor and just ask him and pick his brains. But on the side of servicing, oil changing, I'll do the majority of that myself. But if there's something more, if there's something as if I need to change hydraulic motors, I'll take it into my local chainsaw shop, really, which he's been working on my sawmills for 25 years now. So if it's something more of a major problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to ask, do you keep any stock of any spare parts for your sawmill?
Yes, I do. I try and keep 2 or 3 solenoids always in stock, because they're the type of things that can actually go. And the little microswitch as well, I'll try and keep two or three of those in stock as well. Those, in my experience, are the things that go more often on the actual sawmill. Other than that, it's just mainly blades. I can get my filters and stuff like that from my local chainsaw shop in Bala. So it's just mainly solenoids, microswitches, and the odd bearing here and there, really. But it's always handy to have somebody close by, like tutor, because he always keeps quite a lot of spares anyway.
Right, I see. So basically just stock of things that you wouldn't be able to get locally.
Yes, because if you're out on a job and your microswitch goes, then it's a complete stop then. Whereas if I have a microswitch on me, it's a matter of quarter of an hour changing it and you're up and running again then.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with the solenoid. Just a matter of changing a solenoid. It's a matter of 20 minutes really, and you're starting up again then, really.
Okay, got it. We've gone through a majority of questions. Is there anything that you would like to mention?
Not really. I'm just very happy with I purchased the Wood-Mizer going back 25, 30 years ago now. It was one of the best things I ever did, really. And on the market itself, I've seen a lot of other sawmills working, and nothing comes close to the Wood-Mizer for the price and the durability of it, really.
All right, I won't be holding you much longer. Dei John, thank you very much for this interview, for this opportunity to chat to you. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much, Marek, and you as well.
Just if someone would like to find you online, maybe they will have some questions about contract sawmilling, or maybe they want you to do some contract sawmilling for them. What would be the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, to be honest, I don't advertise at all. I've never had to really. It's all been word of mouth. So the only way they could get in touch with me really is through my email or my phone number. Or I do have a video on YouTube sawing a big, large pine log, which is out there on YouTube, really.
Okay, so just for anyone who want to contact you, we'll put all those details in the video description on YouTube as well. So maybe
Fantastic.
someone will want to chat to you. Okay.
Okay, that's fantastic, Marek.
Thank you again, Dei John. It was an absolute pleasure.
Cheers. You as well.
Bye bye.
Keep safe. Thank you. Thank you. Bye now. Bye.